hawkish part right here. Shout out to the Reinvest AI coming out this month. Go to househack.com or reinvest.co to learn more. Okay, this is the hawkish part right here. See right here? I predicted 2. So let's make this green, just so we have that ready for next time. And let's drop that to like 10. Okay, so I put 2 here. And this is definitely more hawkish than that. That is hawkish. Okay, so they hawked. This is also hawk. This, well, it's stable. This stable, which is somewhat hawkish. And they actually see the unemployment rate coming down next year. Ah, crap. That's hawkish. Down unemployment is hawkish, ironically, for more cuts, right? It's like bullish the economy, but that's hawkish. I've got the alignment on rates. You can see the dissension that Nick T is talking about here, because we ended up here. This is what we predict. Wait a sec. Fed funds rate. Oh, longer. Okay, I'm a little confused by that. We'll have to look at that in just a second. But 3.4 for 26. That's not what it said here, is it? End of 2026. Oh yeah, no, 3.4 and then 3.1, 3.0. Wait a second. If that stays at 3.4, how is there any more of a cut here? So this is hawkish. Where's our 2026 cutting? I don't see cutting in here. Let me look at this one. So, interesting. Because we got our 25 cut. We just cut to basically that 3.6 level. I mean, there's like one cut in there, right? Because right now, we sit at, let's drop this in here. We're at 3.5 to 3.75. So 3.6 is where we sit, is where we are. Okay, yeah, so that's 3.6. That's in alignment. That's fine. Okay, so you've got one cut in there. One cut for 26. Market wanted 2. One cut for 2026. Market wanted 2. So that's a little hawkish. Little hawkish. And then that kind of kills the January cut, unfortunately. Okay. Core inflation coming down. We were looking at that moving up to 2.7. They moved that down, which is actually good, but it's also, that's actually dovish. Inflation down is dovish. That's good. So, a little bit of a mixed bag here. Let's see what the ranges were on the dots. So, the ranges are over here on the far right. The range is always interesting because you could look at the GDP range and they've basically removed recession. Look at this. The person who was bearish, yeah, that's September. Yeah, look at this right here. For 2026, the low-end forecaster revised up. The bear revised up. The recession or slow growth bear revised up. Think about that for a moment. Does that make sense, right? So you had somebody who's like, oh, GDP might only be 1.5% next year. No, it got revised up. Okay, that's hawkish. Okay, all right. So let's write that down. Revised up. That's hawkish. I've got the unemployment rate category also revised. Well, no, I mean, you didn't get the upper end change, so nothing changed here. Inflation, nothing really changed here other than it went down a little bit. So that's fine. Okay. Then, and of course, the longer run, they don't really have any color into this anyway. Okay. So then, let's go look at the actual dots. So, they're pretty tight. So, here you go. These are the actual dots basically showing we're getting to neutral, right? Getting to where they want to be. getting to where they want to be. And looks like everyone wants to settle around 3%, which says we have, 1 to 2 cuts. We have 2 cuts to go. 2 cuts to go, only one for 2026 built in. Okay. Let's see here. Spammers in the comments here. Let's listen to
the short end. But I do think this is, more dovish short term, but still pretty hawkish long term, because if Stephen's reading of this is right, they've upped their estimate of GDP growth next year by a lot. We've got all these income tax refunds that are going to kick in the first half.
Blah, blah, blah. Okay, good. Yeah, so here are the cues. Going for 627. And we got Tesla's now moved up. I've got Bitcoin's pretty stable. I've got DoorDash starting to rise. I've got Circles rising. Path rising. Netflix not doing anything. AM Dizzle's coming up. Wow. Okay. Alright, very well. So, let's go... Yeah, DoorDash. Let's go watch. Okay, so... Let's go into here again. Okay, so the big thing now, we have the summary of economic projections. What we need to see is Powell's guidance on potentially a pause. That's a risk factor. So let's consider that. Powell potentially to signal a pause here. Because if he signals a pause, it basically gives them the latitude to wait for data, right? So we get our cut, but this leans hawkish, right? This is positive for the economy, but leans hawkish. Let's write that down over here. That's how we all have that data in the actual app. And let's throw in where we're leaning here in terms of the odds. Obviously, we're not getting dove. I'm going to write down this 25 BP cut. We've got the 9-3 vote. Myron wanted 50. Schmid and Goolsby wanted 0. And then what this really says, this SEP says economy is fine, okay? Economy is growing again. Economy is fine. Economy back to growth, more growth next year. Economy, more growth in 2026. It sort of probably incorporates tax cuts, fiscal spending, and lower rates. Right? Maybe more borrowing, more AI. It incorporates stable unemployment and falling prices. Well, falling inflation, which isn't falling prices because that's deflation. Falling inflation. So overall, like, it's hawkish, but it's bullish on the economy, right? So hawkish statement, but it's bullish the economy. Even your recession forecaster or slower growth forecaster revised up to 2% GDP growth. I shouldn't say recession forecaster. I just say your slower growth forecaster revised up. We saw that in the revision over here in the 2026 range. So this is good. This is broadly pretty good. Let's listen to Steve for a moment.
About the balance sheet expectations. And it was for purchases to begin again in April. So this is quite a bit earlier. And for purchases to average just about 28 or 30 billion. So this is more than that. So on that front, for sure, I would also point out that when I'm looking at the immediate reaction of the market, it's a little bit more dovish in terms of that next rate cut. We had it more fully priced in for June before the statement came out, and now it's about a 57, 58% probability for April. That's going to bounce around. And all of that said, this entire discussion, I would point out, may go out the window next week when we get October and November employment numbers, as well as some inflation numbers, and we'll figure out if the Fed made the right call here and whether or not the forecast is worth either the paper.
Yeah, we'll throw it away next week when we get the actual data, right?
That's an excellent point.
Yeah, somebody writes, a recession was the biggest risk, therefore Fed is bullish. Yes, I mean, I agree with that. So, like, the Fed's basically saying, Fed's saying, with employment stable, we don't see recession. That is bullish GDP. That's bullish GDP. It's selfishly bullish house hack / reinvest IPO. It's bullish AI. It's bullish stonks. It's just bullish everything, right? Like recession is painful. Nobody wants that. Recession equals long phase of job loss, AI rejecting new hiring, basically. It's a generation of pain. It's not good, right? So overall, this is a good statement. Obviously, the key risk factor would be a cliff. Key risk factor is some form of labor cliff, which is usually evidenced by layoffs skyrocketing or hiring stalling completely. However, October JOLTS report indicated